So, good afternoon, everyone. We are the Group 1, and the topic that we are going to discuss is Lesson 1, What is Art? Introduction and Assumptions. So, when we hear the word art, some of our minds jump into a museum or framed paintings. And in that context, some people might think na, hindi ako big fan ng art. Or maybe they think na ang art is for something that is just for intellectuals or para lang sa mga artsy people. But sa totoo lang, ang art is for anyone who wants to experience it. And it is often in more places than we might realize. Like sa songs na mga pinapanood, sa songs na mga pinapikinggan mo, sa movies na pinapanood mo, sa poems, theater, and marami pang iba. And all of this and more is a form of art. So baka nagwo-wonder kayo kung ano ba talaga ang art or what is art exactly? So art has been around for thousands of years, and through the ages, it has evolved in a number of ways. The reasons of creating it vary from person to person, depending on any number of factors as well. So defining art is pretty tricky and is something that has been debated throughout years. So, ang iba naniniwala na ang art is anything that stirs emotions in you. And these emotions depends entirely on your history, your story, and basically everything that comes together to make up who you are. And because of this, three different people can experience the same piece of art and have different reactions about it. So one person might think na it is the most beautiful thing that they ever seen, and the second person might hate it, and the third person might not feel much of anything at all. And none of them would be wrong kasi meron tayong iba't ibang pananaw about sa arts. So the term art is really just a label. Over the years, a lot of people have tried to classify what it is or what it isn't. But that is not really what art is about. It's all about your personal experience with it and the meaning you draw from it. Everyone reacts to art differently and has the potential to grow and learn from it. It gives us an opportunity to tell stories, record history, and tap into our emotion in a way that few other things can. So humanities expands our knowledge of human cultures and help us to understand what binds us together and what differentiates us from one another. We study humanities because it encourages creativity that let us develop innovative thinking models. They enable us to learn about the past and make us understand in the future, like kung ano yung pinanggalingan ng art. Ang art sa ancient Latin meaning ars, na meaning ay craft or specialized forms of skills. Example, if may tao na nagpa-plan na mag-build ng house, tapos nag-execute na siya ng mga steps or to produce the structures, then siya ay na-involved na din sa art. As long as there has been human life on this earth, he altered the condition of the flora and the animals in order to survive. In addition to these essentials, man left his mark on the planet through his creations. Man built his dwelling and other facilities that serve his requirements with his own two hands. So, the original definition of the word art has something to do with all of these crafts because he used fire to melt gold, a craft or specialized kinds of expertise such as carpentry, blacksmithing, or surgery. Early Renaissance artists did not associate the term art with the current connotations. Rather, they simply considered their work as workmanship. The topic and concept of aesthetic, the study of beauty, started to take shape in the 17th century and diverged from the idea of technical craftsmanship, which was word artological.
Art is universal. There's a lot of reason why art is universal. First reason, in general, it doesn't matter what language you speak or your social caste, you can appreciate it. Means, kahit Pinoy ka man, kahit na anong region ka man galing, kahit na Italiano ka, French, American, you can appreciate art by yourself. The second reason is because art, that is music, sculpture, etc., can transcend cultural differences and appeal to people from many cultural backgrounds. So, every art in different places is like an identity. So, napapasa-pasa nila yan. Para sa atin, OPM, napapasa-pasa natin yan hanggang sa susunod na generation. Yung mga sculptures na gawa ng mga Pinoy na artist, tattoo, tulad ni Wang Od, ganun. Third reason, art is universal because it let us express ourselves in a way that we want. So, from that reason itself, you have its own meaning kung paano natin siya i-describe personally, kung paano natin nakikita yung isang bagay. It is universal because it is free world. It is free world because anyone can appreciate art, can do art, can exercise art, whatever you want, type of art that you want to do in your own world. The misconception in art is people feel that what is considered artistic are those which have been made a long time ago. So, ito yung total misconception nga ng mga tao. So, they tend to describe the art only kapag vintage, matagal na, gawa na ng sinaunang tao. Art is not good because it is old, but old because it is good, by Dudley. Art is not good, again, art is not good because it is old, but old because it is good. Kaya nga siya tumagal kasi nga maganda siya. Yung every art na na-appreciate ng tao. So what are the proofs that art is universal? In painting, the Spolarium by Juan Luna. Do you guys know the Spolarium, the picture of yun, yung mga tao na kinakaladkad sa kalsada? Yun yung painting ni Juan Luna. There's a story behind it, and nakilala siya ng buong mundo kasi nga sikat rin si Juan Luna na artist. So the second painting that is known universally is Mona Lisa of Leonardo da Vinci, and the third is the Great Wave of Kanagawa by Ukiyo-e. In literature naman, yung mga art na nakikilala universally is Florante at Laura by Francisco Balagtas, and The Lady of Shalott by John William Waterhouse. The first assumption then about the humanities is that art has been crafted by all people regardless of origin, time, place, and stayed because it is liked and enjoyed the people. Actually, everything talaga na nandito sa nahawakan, nakikita natin sa physical world is art. There is a certain art lang talaga na nagugustuhan ng certain mass people. Kaya nagiging sikat siya, na-appreciate siya ng lahat. Pero the reality, kahit na ang bagay ang pwede nating i-describe as art is pwede naman siyang maging meaningful personally sa atin.
Good morning everyone, my name is Nurhani Elavana and I am now reporting our lesson 1, which is the topic is art is not nature. So, in the Philippines, it is not entirely novel to hear some consumers of local movies remarks that these movies produced locally are unrealistic. They contend that local movies work around certain formula to the detriment of substance and faithful to reality of the movies. These critical minds argue that a good movie must reflect reality as closely as possible. Is that so? So, here in the Philippines, magiging realistic lang yung movie if ever, di ba yung movie is based on reality. So, magiging realistic lang yung is as in copy talaga yung reality na yung na story. So, halimbawa, yung sa mga anime. Di ba yung sa mga anime, some dun sa Japan is kinakopy nila dun sa movie. So, pero, change nila some of the patterns or kaya some of the details doon sa movie. So, yung pag-change nila sa movie is hindi na daw yun siya realistic. Hindi na daw siya yung magiging realistic. Pero na lang, as in, kopyang-kopya na talaga yung reality, yung place na yun. As in, same talaga sila. So, hindi siya magiging realistic dito sa Philippines. So, let's proceed to Paul Cézanne. Paul Cézanne is a French painter, painted a scene from reality entitled Well and Grinding Wheel in the Forest around the Chateaunois, near in Aix, Cézanne's native province. So, comparing the two, one can see that Cézanne's landscape is different from original scene because Cézanne has changed some patterns and some details in his photograph. Cézanne has changed some patterns and details from the original scene. As you can see, Cézanne has changed some patterns and details from the way they were actually in the photograph. So what he did is not nature. It is art. Why? Because art is hindi siya nakabase. So, yung pag-change ni Cézanne ng some patterns and details dun sa painting niya is yun na yung art. Doon na pumapasok yung art. Kasi, yung art is may sariling interpretation siya. Hindi siya nakabase sa reality. Although, kinakopy nila yun sa reality, but may sarili pa din siyang interpretation. Kumbaga, sa ginawa ni Cézanne is hindi niya as in kinopy yung sa reality. Kumbaga, inspired lang siya sa real forest na around in the Chateaunois. So, yung pag-change niya ng details, the way what he wants, the way na kung ano yung gusto niya, na paano niya ginawa, or kung paano niya dinagdagan yung some details doon, is yun na yung art. So, one important characteristic of art is that it is not nature. Art is man's expression of his perception of nature. Art is man's way of interpreting nature. Art is not nature. Art is made by man. Whereas, nature is given around us. So, yun nga, yung art is may sarili siyang interpretation. Nakadepende sa isang tao kung ano yung interpret niya sa art. Kung ano yung some idea niya, kung paano niya ito siya ginagawa. Although, kinopy niya yung sa reality, halimbawa, nag-copy siya ng, like si Cézanne, kinopy niya yung sa forest. But, hindi nakabase doon sa forest, na as in, ikakopy niya yung sa forest. Kasi, yung art is may sarili siyang interpretation kung ano yung gusto niya. So, yung art and nature is like opposite. Magkaiba sila, magkasunod sila. Hindi sila same. Sabi nga dito, art is not nature. So, hindi magiging nature yung art. At hindi magiging art yung nature. So, for example, yung movies. Movies are not direct representation of reality. Halimbawa, yung di ba sa movies, yung movies is kumukuha sila based on reality, di ba? Pero, hindi porket based on reality siya, is ikakopy nila lahat yun. Nakadepende yung because according to the movie maker's perception of reality, being reality, ito daw ay interpretation or even distortion of nature. So, nakadepende yun sa movie maker kung dadagdagan ba niya yung movie or i-change niya yung some details. Like art, di ba? Because movies is art naman siya. Kasi sarili niyang ideas, sarili ng movie maker yung dinadagdag niya. Hindi niya kinukuha. One can imagine the story of the five blind men who argue against each other. Kung ano ba yung itsura ng elephants. So, yung story na yun ng five blind men is ganun yung arts. Nakadepende siya kung ano yung perception mo sa nature. So, yun nga, yung story of the five blind men is ganun yung art. Nakadepende siya sa kung ano yung perception ng isang tao sa nature. So, each of the five blind men touch different part of the elephant. So, the first was touching the body of the elephant. Thus, he thought it was a wall. So, another was touching the beast ear of the elephant. So he thought it was a fan. So, the rest of them touches the different part of the elephant and concluded different based on their perceptions. So, art is like each of these men's view of the elephant. It is based on an individual. So, dun sa nature. So, artists are not expected to duplicate nature, just as even scientists with the elaborate laboratories cannot make nature. So, both artists and scientists cannot duplicate nature. Bakit nga ba? Kasi nga, kumukuha lang sila ng idea. So, ganun nga, yung five blind men story, ganun daw yung art. Nakadepende siya sa isang tao kung ano yung perception niya. So, yun nga, yung art is may sarili siyang interpretation. Hindi siya nakabase. Hindi porket kinapin ng isang tao yung sa reality is hindi na siya mababago. So, depende pa rin yun sa isang tao kung ano yung perceive niya dun sa nature. So, both artists and scientists are trying to capture the essence of nature. But they do so in different ways and with different goals in mind. Instead, artists and scientists may use their own unique tools, methods, and perspective to create their own interpretations or understanding of nature. Example, yung artists may use different mediums such as paint, sculpture, or film to express their ideas and perspectives about nature. While yung scientist naman is, for example, while scientists may use elaborate laboratories and tools to study and understand nature, but they are not able to fully copy the nature. Instead, they will use models or simulations to better understand how nature systems work. That's why art is not nature. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, ma'am and classmates. I am Muhaiman Nurin M. Sabubakan, BS Bio, and I'm going to discuss and explain art involves experience. So when we say art involves experience, ibig sabihin, kailangan mo natin ng experience para makagawa tayo ng art. Because art is actual doing of something. So actual doing of something is by Dudley 1960. For example, we experience love. So when we experience love, alam na natin yung cycle of loving. Like first is falling in love, second is getting hurt, and last is bouncing back. And like doing a particular recipe. So when we have an experience of doing a recipe, alam na natin kung paano gumawa ng recipe because we have an experience. Knowing a thing is different from hearing from others what the said thing is. Ibig sabihin, magkaiba kung alam mo mismo yung bagay kaysa sinasabi lang ng iba. For example, a radio DJ. Bumibigay siya ng advice sa mga tagapakinig, pero siya mismo hindi niya alam yung sinasabi niya kasi hindi niya na-experience yon. And a choreographer that cannot execute himself is a bogus. Bogus siya kasi choreographer siya pero hindi niya kayang execute yung dance steps. So art is always an experience. Kunyari ang painter, hindi siya matatawag na painter kung wala siya experience sa paghawak ng paintbrush. Sa paggawa ng sculpture, hindi siya makagawa ng sculpture kung bago pa lang sa kanya ang gawain yon. So that's why art involves experience. A work of art then cannot be abstracted from actual doing. In order to know what an artwork is, we have to sense it, see or hear it, and see and hear it. Ibig sabihin, para ma-appreciate natin yung isang artwork, kailangan natin bakinggan, tignan yung artwork na yon. For example, the Monumentum of Rizal. Dahil wala tayo sa mga pangyayaring yon, kailangan natin pumunta sa Rizal Park or sa mga museum para ma-feel natin yung artwork. Like Beyonce music, para mas madama natin yung music ni Beyonce, we need to listen to it. An important aspect of experiencing art, it is being highly personal, individual, and subjective. In philosophical terms, perception of art is always a value evaluation of art because one's experience can never be known by another.